Hello students, today we will continue with the explanation of a gift of chapels. In the previous video, we have discussed about Mridu's visit to her cousin's house, and her cousins shared their secret with her that they were secretly taking care of the cat. In this, we will discuss about the children's charity work. Part 2. Mridu crept up to the window. Lalli was sitting a little distance away, awkwardly holding her violin and bowstring, her elbows jutting out and her eyes glazed with concentration. In front of her, with most of his back to the window, was the bony figure of the music master. He had a mostly bald head with a fringe of oiled black hair falling around his ears and an old-fashioned tuft. A gold chain gleamed around his leathery neck, and a diamond ring glittered on his hand as it glided up and down the stem of the violin. A large foot stuck out from beneath his gold-bordered vashti edge, and he was beating time on the floor with the scrawny big toe. Mridu peeped from the window, and she found Lalli was holding her violin in an awkward way, and her eyes glazed with concentration. Here, the expression eyes glazed with concentration means her expression was dull or dreamy because she was tired or finding difficulty in concentrating on her music lesson. Lalli was sitting a little distance away from her music teacher, who had his back towards the window. The teacher was bald with a fringe of oiled black hair falling around his ears. There was a gold chain in his neck and a diamond ring on his hand. He played a few notes. Lalli stumbled behind him on her violin, which looked quite helpless and unhappy in her hands. What a difference! The music master's notes seemed to float up and settle perfectly into the invisible tracks of the melody. It was like the wheels of a train fitting smoothly into the rails and whizzing along, as Ravi said. Mridu stared at that huge, be-ringed hand moving effortlessly up the violin stem, making lovely music. Squawk! There was Lalli derailing again. Amma! Came a wail from the gate. Amma! Oh! The music teacher played a few notes and Lalli followed him haltingly on her violin. He was playing the notes perfectly on the violin while Lalli was struggling very hard. The music master was playing the notes perfectly. It seemed the notes perfectly settled into the tracks of the melody. It was like the wheels of a train on the track whizzing on and on, as Ravi told her. Mridu stared at his big hand with ring, which was moving so quickly on the violin and producing the lovely music. Then suddenly they heard squawk. Lalli again missed the notes. Then they heard a wail from the gate. Amma! A beggar was at the gate who was trying to draw the attention of the residents. Ravi, send that beggar away, cried his mother from the back veranda, where she was chatting with Tapi. He has been coming here every day for the past week, and it's time he found another house to beg from, Pati explained to Tapi. Mridu and Meena followed Ravi out. The beggar was already in the garden, making himself quite at home. He had spread his upper cloth under the neem tree and was leaning against its trunk, apparently prepared to take a little snooze, while he waited for the arms to appear. Go away, said Ravi sternly. My Pati says it's time you found another house to beg from. Rukumani called Ravi from the back veranda where she was chatting with Tapi and asked him to send the beggar away. Pati told Tapi that the beggar had been coming there for a week and now he should find another house. Mridu and Meena followed Ravi. They found the beggar already settled himself under the neem tree in the garden and was preparing to take a short nap. Ravi asked him to leave the place as his Pati asked him to find another house. The beggar opened his eyes very wide and gazed at each of the children one by one. "The ladies of this house," he said at last, in a voice choked with feeling, "are very kind souls. I have kept my body and soul together on their generosity for a whole week. I cannot believe that they would turn me away." He raised his voice, "Amma, Amma, oh." Sad his wail might be, but it certainly wasn't feeble. It began in a deep, strong rumble somewhere in his withered belly and came booming out of his mouth with its few remaining teeth stained brown with beetle chewing. The beggar looked at each of the children one by one and told them the ladies of the house were very kind. They fed him for a week and he was alive because of their generosity. The beggar again called out. While calling, his teeth were visible, which were stained brown due to beetle chewing. "Ravi, tell him,"